Hey everybody, Rich Ramirez, East Rosebud Fly Shop here. Thank you for joining us on the Foul Hooked Whitey podcast. I'm joined by my co-host Brandon Booty.
Hello everyone, nice to be here.
It's great to have you here, motherfucker. I love doing this with you.
I like it a lot.
I knew that, I've known you for a few years, whatever, and I just knew that, you would be the right person to do this with, because you're not afraid to look stupid like me.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And that's that. Fuck yes.
I'm glad you gave me the opportunity. It means a lot.
It's an honor, sir. It's great to have you here. So what we're going to talk about here today is we're going to talk about the fly fishing phenomena known as Euro-Nymping.
Okay.
Come on, talk to me. You're a fucking co-host here. I mean, when I say Euro-Nymphing to you, what's the deal? What do you think of? What does that mean? Do you have a fucking clue?
Yeah. Longer rods. Smaller tippet. No way. No indicator.
Okay. Right.
High sticking.
That's really kind of it, right? I mean, and for you pros out there, you're Euro pros. Just take it easy. We got a couple amateurs talking about what you love and laughing about what you love. I'm kidding. We're not laughing. Well, we kind of are. So as I sit in a fly shop like I do, I have to say right off the bat, there has never been a newer technique, and I'm going to say newer just because it seems newer, might have been done for a long time, whatever, that I've never had anything move my business style like this shit. Fuck. Let me give you an example. Trout spay. Familiar with trout spay?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's still out there. People do it. But the truth is, the number of people that come in looking for a trout spay rod for me is like not a lot. If we promoted it, if we were into it, if we were good at it, it would be different. But we're not. So we don't really do any business off of trout spay. Plus, at minimum, in terms of the inertia of popularity with trout spay, I'm sure clearly it's leveled out. I mean, it doesn't seem to be gaining momentum. It's kind of like the way 10 cars seems to have died a bit. Thank God. And I know it's not dead, but it just doesn't seem to be as discussed.
Yeah, it seems like when they first came out, the car, they...
Every sissy on the fucking planet was in here looking for a 10-car rod. Oh, I'm kidding, guys. You're not a sissy.
What percentage would you say of the new people you come in? Is it like people who have been fly fishing?
Yes. Yeah. If you're
I'm talking about Euro-Nymping.
Yes.
There's no people aren't getting in the sport starting with Euro, or is just okay? So it's people moving to Euro from already fly fishing.
Correct, and that's a good clarification, and that's a good question. And I can tell you right off the bat, coming from somebody who has no interest in it at all, that shit fucking works. I mean, that shit works. The whole principle of big, goofy, weighted beadhead flies that sink right in front of that shit right away, and like you said, the super thin diameter tippet and leader and cider this and cider that, and I just can't get past a fucking 10.5 foot 3-weight. That 10.5 foot 3-weight. I mean that's like a 7-inch dick that don't get hard. I'm sorry. That was gross. That's going to happen, though. I mean, think about that. I mean, I'm not a 3-weight guy anyway, but if I was going to go fish a 3-weight, obviously I'm thinking a 7.5 foot 3-weight for fucking tiny rainbow mountain trout I don't want to catch. Yeah. Right? That's when I hear a 3-weight. But the Euro-Nymphing rods are between, it seems like 2 and 4 weight, between 10, 10.5, and 11 feet. And obviously that length isn't incorporated into the rod design for accuracy. That length is incorporated into the rod design for reachability. Yeah. Because it seems like technique-wise, I've nenever done this, so again, you pros out there, you're going to be like, this fucker doesn't know what he's talking about. And you're right, but I still want to talk about it. It's a reaching game, right? I mean, I would say generally that dude ain't looking at that 35, 40-foot cast, that little tiny eddy that he wants to put that bugger on, right? I mean, it's more shit like 10, 12 feet out in front of me. And, I mean, that right there is... I do a good job identifying holding water and picking a run apart, in my opinion. But somebody focusing on that 10, 12 feet in front of them, 15 feet in front of them with a high stick drift, even with results, I mean, that's like fucking playing football without ever passing the football. Right?
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Well, it is. It's 3 yards in a pile of dust. And that in itself, to me, is the turnoff in Euro-Nymphing technique, only because if there's one thing I love about being a fly angler, I'm talking about the act, right? It's casting that fucking floating line. I mean, right? I mean, letting that shit go and being accurate with it and working your double haul and, I mean, you know, feeling that line shoot. I mean, tell me that's not exhilarating.
Yeah, that's a big part of the fishing, you know? That's a big part of fishing.
You bet, man. Oh, my God, right? I mean, a weighted line. So that can't be there with Euro-Nymphing, right? I mean, it can't fucking be because
you're missing half of it.
Well, and basically most of your Euro lines, which I sell, and please keep buying them from me. Please, I'm only casually making fun of you. You know, there's no taper, so there's no head there. You know, so you're the line design, the floating part of the Euro line setup, is not impactual at all.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
it's
man.
Just no taper at all.
Well, motherfuckers run 12, 15, 16-foot leader. I mean, yeah. I might be a little bit long on that, but it's right in there. Because, again, the whole idea is to use a weighted fly to get just a fast-ass drop, as thin of a leader setup, tippet setup as you can, so drops and travels through the water, doesn't have the resistance of current, right? So it really is a close game. That's what I think the best way to put Euro-Nymphing. And it works fucking like, it works like a charm. I mean, it really does. So, however, so does bead fishing. Right. Well, I'm right. I mean, so does bead fishing. I mean, you know that. I mean, how many fucking goomy worms did you peg on the horn this summer?
I pegged a lot of worms, yeah.
You pegged a lot of worms.
No, so, the best bug.
And by the way, I think fishing Euro-Nymph flies is way more fucking credible than fishing beads or peg fucking goomy worms. Holy shit. That's a whole different fucking subject. But the Euro-Nymphing thing, I'm not going to call it simple. I think that's a mistake because I think the rig setups alone are complicated enough to not call it simple. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, when I think of something like that, like why it works so good, is it because it's getting a better drift? Is it because they ain't seeing the indicator? You know,
I think all of the above. Okay. But I would say, and this is an amateur talking, I would say the most effective value on a Euro setup is, number one, how quickly the flies get in front of the target. I mean, I fish a lot of streamers, and you know, let's face it, I'm not going to get that streamer down fast. I mean, you know, you got an exaggerated weighted bead, and you know, shit, that drops right in front of their face in half a second.
Yeah,
throwing that thin diameter leader, I mean, just that high stick capacity for a good drift, fucking bam. I mean, I think a lot of these anglers are like kings of the whitefish. I do. I think they catch a lot of whitefish in our area fishing this way, but it is still very effective. So why do I feel like I want to talk about its credibility? Probably because we go right back to that cast. You know, they're not throwing the football, right? And who wants to watch a fucking football game where there's no passing game?
Yeah, I love that analogy. That's a great analogy.
It's true. You know, I mean, that's really what it is. And I mean, I'll never forget a guy that was so ecstatic about how well he was doing Euro-Nymphing. He was just ecstatic. He was catching nice trout. He was loving it. He was getting better at it. And the motherfucker looked right at me and he said, kind of feels like cheating. And he didn't mean that like he was cheating, because this dude would fish anything. But I found that to be an interesting comment because that just demonstrates how fucking easy it can be.
And effective.
And who in the world who strings a fly rod up with a fly line and puts a leader on it doesn't want to be effective? That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about here who is your Euro-Nympher? Is a Euro-Nympher somebody that's an accomplished dry fly angler? Is he an accomplished streamer angler? Did he or she just decide, okay, I want to be good in all the arts and this Euro technique is legit and I want to be good at that? I don't know. I'm not really sure who it is. I think the Euro-Nymph guy, angler, gal, whoever, I think they're the fish counter. I think they're the rack 'em up type angler. And personally, my psyche is not that. My psyche is catch something good.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and catch a good one. And then, kind of like I'm satisfied. I got to come. I catch something good, I got to come. I don't catch anything good, I didn't get to come. It's that kind of thing. And so for me, the Euro-Nymphing part of it is maybe it's not easy, but I think the result is quicker based on the technique. And if you're looking for a quick win, an easy win, I think this is the technique you fish with. Because I do think that there is going to be an element of ease to it once you get good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. You're not throwing, 30 feet, 40 feet, having to throw an immediate mend into your cast in order to get it. Easier. Right? You're not having to do that. I'm going to say it. Mending isn't really there, right? Because you're not generally dealing, for the most part, with any type of floating line on the water surface. So I think that it comes off as a little bit of a, 10-car on steroids.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel. I've got a good friend who loves it. He's an older guy. He's a superb tire, great guy. And in Montana, and this dude ain't shy about this shit because he's all Euro. This motherfucker fishes with 3 flies, which, is illegal in Montana. But, I don't go there. He's a good dude. Do I care? Sure. But do I give a fuck? No.
It's all 3 nymphs.
Well, yeah, of course. They're not only that, but they're all fucking perdigons. And you should see the beads on them. The bead size looks like an apple on a baby's dick.
Got the big oversized beads on them.
I'm sorry. Lydia, cut that out. No, don't. Just kidding. Right. But that's my point. I say that disgusting comparison because that's how big these beads are, and that's the point to the sink rate. That's the point to the get them down in their face right away. And the other thing is, this Euro shit, I think it's like mega sensitive. I don't think beginning Euro guys get it right away because like anything, it takes some time. But I think those pros out there, and there are pros, let's face it. There's guys out there that rack up trout that I'll never even know. I think are you familiar that there is actually fly fishing international competitions?
Yeah, they all Euro-Nymph, right?
I think so.
I think it's all Euro-Nymph.
And why?
To effectiveness,
because it fucking works so good, right? That's why they're able to do it, and that's because I think that competition thing is like there's a judge with you, I think, and I think it's a quantity of fish and maybe length of fish, some sort of form. I don't fucking know. There's no doubt I talk a lot about shit I don't know about, but I don't want to do this with Euro-Nymphing because I'm already going to get the hate from this talk. Motherfuckers are sitting there right now going, God, I was going to go in there and buy that 11-foot 3-weight from him, and now fuck him. That's what 10-car guys did to me once we started bagging on 10-car, and guess what? I don't fucking care.
Were you selling 10-car in here?
I did. I sold them when they initially came out because at the time I was a Patagonia dealer. And Patagonia, man, oh fuck, they love 10-car. Jesus Lord, They
probably made a lot of money off of it.
I don't know if they made a lot of money, but they kind of parlayed their sissy apparel into sissy fly fishing.
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Again, nothing to say to that, huh?
Nothing to say.
Fair enough. Thank you.
But I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, this isn't pro Euro-Nymphers, and I'm going to call them that. There's some dudes out there. I've never met him. His name's Lance Egan. No, maybe I said that right. I don't know. I think he's a fly fish food guy. Does a lot of designing for Umpqua. Got some, per to this, per to that, per to bomb, per to whatever. And that fucker's good. I mean, he's good. I wouldn't want to be in a fishing competition with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
those
fucking make me look like a moron.
And those Perdigons work.
They fucking work.
Even if you're running a regular, nymph setup.
And thank you for bringing that up, because that's something that I may not have touched on, is that 3 summers ago, I basically converted my bug bin to Perdigons if it had a bead head on it. Well, I mean, fucking, you're a guide. You guys are in there. You got that Perdigon Frenchie. You got that Perdigon this. This is the weird thing about Perdigons, and I believe Perdigon is Spanish for pellet. So I don't quite know how that got into a fly, but I think the name Perdigon is pellet in Espanol.
Okay.
I don't know how all that shit started, because I have no interest in the history here, but I think that's where it came from. I bought all these Perdigons for my shops. Holy fuck, do I sell those? I mean, better than any nymph ever. And this is why. I bought them because I figured I'd merchandise them to anglers fishing freestones. Stillwater, Gallatin, Rock Creek, Boulder, Yellowstone, whatever. No. You tailwater fuckers, you use them all the time.
A lot. Yeah, a lot. And it's basically the same thing, those Spanish bullets.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean,
Perdigons and those, they work great.
Yeah, and what's weird is a bulk of the sizing I bought, and listen, this is getting real boring, so the 6 of you listening to this, just be patient. I bought those in 14s, which is a big hook size for a tailwater. And tell me that shit still didn't work good.
Oh, it was working.
It was fucking working. I mean, shit works. And I mean, let's face it, just for those of you that might be listening to you, again, I know there's only 6 of you, but a Perdigon is a beadhead nymph tied on, most of the time, a 60-degree jig hook, right? So it drifts a certain way, more horizontal than vertical, better hook sets, blah, blah, blah. I have no fucking idea if any of that's true, but that's what these Euro cats have told me, right? Here's the point. When people come in and they say, okay, you say fish a Perdigon, which one? I fucking say any of them. You think that's bad advice?
No, I think that's good advice.
That's not bad advice, because I can't believe how many different styles, colors, all this shit that goes into these Perdigon Euro flies that are effective. So you bobber guys, you nymph guys that really, aren't into the Euro technique, the Euro setup, the Euro scene, whatever, still do yourself a fucking favor and buy some Perdigons instead of some Copper Johns.
Yeah,
they're fucking. I mean, it's a whitefish magnet, for Christ's sakes.
Get some Perdigons on. You get to use less weight. If you have people who can't min, they get down quicker.
Oh man,
it's kind of a cheat code.
Well, the point is that that's an aspect of the Euro-Nymphing technique that has really benefited the sport, right?
Yeah,
I think so, because all these commercial manufacturers now, they all tie everything on a jig hook. You can get a fucking Prince nymph on a jig hook, a hare's ear. I mean, if it's a nymph, it's tied on a fucking jig hook, right? And I think that in itself is a benefit to the sport overall, because I think the hookup value is better, and that weighted bead kind of gets some of your clients that aren't maybe the best anglers, you being a guide, that don't have to put split shot on that shit, right?
Yeah, or at least less.
Or at least less. So it's there's a lot of good things about it, and I guess the point to this subject is, are people trying to develop easier ways to be successful fly fishing?
Yeah, I think
right. I mean,
it's like the evolution. Easier and easier and easier.
That's it. That's kind of what easier. I mean, the casting accuracy isn't as critical. I think. You know, the ability to mend, whether you're throwing it into your cast or you're doing it after your bugs have hit the water, not as necessary, right?
Yeah.
And lastly, I'm not really sure if I could ever look myself in the face if I'm fishing a 10.5 foot 3-weight. I mean, I'm a 7-weight guy, right? And that's another part of this that's just really interesting where this has gone.
That's something I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
What percentage of people coming here are buying like Euros compared to streamers compared to like dry fly rods?
I would say that, you know, Euro-Nymphing, at least in terms of the equipment part of it, it's not taken over. But the reason I brought it up at the start of our conversation is because as a shop owner, I have definitely made some good money on Euro-Nymphing. Like, no fucking doubt. Like better than any new technique, whether it was Tenkara or, like I said, trout spay or just whatever. I think if you're a shop that has a culture of streamer fishing like East Rosebud, you're going to sell more streamers. You're going to sell more setups for that, because we have our customers that value our opinion, our technique, our style, our way, and we promote streamer fishing a lot. I think if you're in another shop, like maybe, you know, like Fly Fish Food, who just seems to have they seem to have that Euro technique dialed down, I think they're going to probably they're going to sell more of that than they are a streamer setup. So in answer to your question, I think it's more shop culture.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, right. That's right. You know, I mean, somebody comes in looking for a Euro setup, I'm going to have some fun with it, but, you know, this ain't no disrespect. I'm just kind of dissecting this and just trying to figure out what the big appeal is. And I think we know what the big appeal is. That's effectiveness.
It works.
And who in the fuck is going to have a problem with that? I mean, you know, a lot of people, a majority of the people that walk into our shop, they'll walk in, they want to be successful catching trout on a fly rod.
And that's why they hire guides too. You know?
How I do it, and, you know, the ethics of this, and the manliness of this, that just does not matter to a majority of people, and it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because Euro-Nymphing, and I'll kind of summarize with this, out of all the techniques that a shop like mine would promote, at least in terms of selling equipment, talking about success rate, nothing is better than Euro-Nymphing. So our critique, our criticism is probably rooted in ignorance and arrogance.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, if they're happy and, you know, catching a lot of fish, then who cares what we say?
You do you, boo.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. All right. So in the summary, you know, it's amazingly effective, and please forget my comments on this, and please come buy your shit from East Rosebud, because, like I said before, I have a divorce to pay for, and that's big money. So buy your shit here. Thanks, everybody.